Hello everybody, back in Kat's Cooking Kitchen today, and the recipe I've chosen will be a Italian meatball that I'm going to do the meatballs today, and then tomorrow night we're having spaghetti and meatballs for dinner. So there'll be a second part to this video, although the completed recipe for the meatballs will be today. So what we're going to do is I have my oven preheating to 400, and I hope it gets heated in time. We're going to start with 1 pound, just so you can see what I'm doing. 1 pound of ground beef. Mine is a lean ground beef. So you can choose 80-20, 75-15, or the 90-10, whatever is your choice of ground beef. And then we're going to add a half a cup of panko crumbs. Now you can use any kind of, you can use breadcrumbs or cracker crumbs, whatever your choice of crumbs is, you go ahead and use it. I happen to have some panko, so that's what I'm using. We're going to use a couple cloves of garlic, which is a couple teaspoons. And I hope I don't need any more garlic before I get to the store, because that little sucker is just about done for. So let's go on to 3 tablespoons of milk. And it says whole milk, and I do happen to have whole milk today instead of 2%, but 2% would work. There's 2. And a half of this one would be 3. Okay, 3 tablespoons of milk. And this is a first time recipe for me on this one. I have another meatball recipe that I'm going to be doing for you in the next day or so. And it's my own original recipe. This one I found on the novicechefblog.com. So, and it looked like a really good recipe for making meatballs. And we also need to add 1 egg. Okay, there's the egg. And a tablespoon, this is why I didn't get my tablespoon wet, of Italian seasoning. That's going to have to be washed. Drop that puppy right in there. Okay. I'm only going to use about 3/4 of a tablespoon. And let's see. Oh, yellow onion. And I forgot to dice up my yellow onion, so I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to use minced dried onions, and it wants a 1/3 cup, and I'm going to use just a little less than a 1/4 cup of the dried mince, because they will rehydrate when we're cooking them and stuff, so they'll be good. I try to have everything prepped before I get started on these recipes, just because it's easier and less time consuming when I'm making a video. So I try to keep the videos as low as I can. And now we need 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce. Oh, that was a generous 2nd teaspoon. And we need 3 tablespoons of parsley. But I'm using dried, so we wouldn't need that much. So I'm going to put in 2 of the dried, 2 tablespoons dried parsley. Okay. And since I got my measuring spoons out here, I'm going to be good and use a teaspoon. See, there's what a teaspoon in your hand looks like. And it calls for a half teaspoon of black pepper. But we love black pepper in this house, so half teaspoon wouldn't be enough. So we're going to have 1 teaspoon and just a teeny bit of spillage in there. And that's all the ingredients, everybody. So now I just have to get my hands dirty. I already took my rings off. And now we're just going to squish this up together. We don't want to overmix it, but we want to make sure everything's incorporated into our meatballs. Probably have to get in here with my other hand here in a second. Don't know. There, it's coming together better. Okay, see, just you don't want to pound the meatballs to death, so that's pretty good. Okay, so let me rinse off my dirty hand here for a second. Make it clean. I have to get it dirty, my hands dirty again, because once I get them all dipped up, I will roll them into a better looking meatball than a meatball flat on one side. And they want them to be 1.5 inch size. So I have a 2 tablespoon scoop here that is 1.5 inches across, or a little less. So, and these make, I think, this scoop makes perfect size meatballs. Okay, we're supposed to get about 15 out of the recipe as it's stated, so we'll see. And then you bake them for 16 or so minutes. I'll check that to be sure, but I'm pretty sure that's what I read. And get them pre-baked. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to let them cool, and I'll put them in a Ziploc bag and put them in the refrigerator until tomorrow, and then I will cook them in some marinara sauce. A little bit of it, and then I'll have my rest of my sauce cooking on low for the spaghetti. That will go along with tomorrow night's dinner. Going to be 12 so far here with this one. I can spread them out a little bit more. They don't spread like a cookie, so we'll put them rather close together. You don't want them piled on top of each other, though. You want them to be able to cook. $13, 14, and just a hair over 15 meatballs in here. That's it. Okay. And now there's our oven, all set at 400 degrees. Dab these on where I think they could use it. Okay, now comes the fun part. And you get to get your hands all dirty again. You're going to take them and you're going to roll them. Just gently. You don't have to put any pressure on them. You just, if they start to fall apart, then you just squeeze them a little bit. Depends on how well I packed them in when I was making using the scoop. And we did get 15 meatballs out of 1 pound of hamburger. So if you need more than 15, easy enough, you just double the recipe. And that should get you about 30, or I'd say 31 with the size scoop I had. There'd been enough left over for an extra meatball, so you'd have had probably 31. So if you make them by hand, that's fine too. Kind of a small golf ball looking meatball. You just want them to be all about the same size so they all cook the same. This just goes really, really quick. So easy. And especially easy if you're making your meatballs the day ahead. You're not rushing around getting things ready. So there we go. One more meatball. And they'll go in the oven for just a few minutes, around 16 minutes. As soon as I wash the raw meat off of my hands. You want to make sure you wash your hands frequently if you're using raw meat, especially poultry. Be right back here in a second. You do not want to get sick by handling raw meat and not washing your hands real well. Okay, there we are. Okay, let me check. Like I told you, I double checked the recipe. 16 to 20 minutes. So I will eyeball them. They don't have to be, they'll probably be well done. They don't have to be overly cooked because we're going to cook them again in spaghetti sauce tomorrow. So here we go. I'll be right back as soon as they're ready. Hi, welcome back everybody. I pulled the meatballs out of the oven. I don't know if they're quite ready yet, but I remembered that I got a new toy. And what it is, it's a meat thermometer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to check one of my meatballs and see what the temperature is. And we're at 158 and 160. Okay, you want it to be at least 160. You want them pretty well done. Need to wash this. So there we are. I have my meatballs. I'm going to let them cool and then I'll put them away until tomorrow. And tomorrow night I will be making a super easy, not from scratch, spaghetti meatballs. Scratch is good if you want to do it. My whole thing is take shortcuts when you can. A lot of people's lives are just too busy to spend all afternoon in the kitchen, you know, doing everything from scratch. I love scratch cooking. I do some scratch cooking. But right now I'm trying to get my meals ready in about 30 minutes or less. I don't count the cook time in the oven for that. But if I can have it ready and in the oven in less than 30 minutes, I'm a happy girl. So here we go. That's it. You set back over here to cool. And keep the happiness and joy in your heart. Find something you love to do it. Even if you have to do it part-time on your own, if you can work doing something you love, you are blessed. Because then you never work a day in your life, as the saying goes. Because you love being there, you love what you're doing. It's actually very, very fantastic way to live. And we don't all have that. Sometimes we have jobs that we do just because they pay the bills. There's nothing wrong with that. Put your family first. Work for your family. Work for your kids. And if you don't have any kids, you get to work for yourself. You get to spend all that money on yourself. Okay? So hang in there, everybody. Thanks for joining me in Kat's Cooking Kitchen. And I'll see you the next time.